Mr. Posey, recognize you for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Babin. Mr. Bowersox, are the facilities at Kennedy Space Center sufficient to meet NASA and contractor requirements for commercial space station payload processing?
We would like to see improvement in those facilities. We'd like to see improvement in the capacity for all of the work at the Kennedy Space Center. One of the challenges we have is how we get the resources to do that. And something that I think has been talked about is potential legislative changes that would allow us to take resource investments from private partners, commercial partners, and bring them in and use them at a place like the Kennedy Space Center.
Okay. Is there any current plan to use foreign launch or payload processing facilities to service commercial space contractors?
Right now, we're not thinking about using commercial launch for that. We want to use our own activities. We might do some sort of an exchange with commercial partners in other countries where they provide a launch for us, we provide a launch for them. We could see something like that in the future, but right now we don't have anything concrete.
How is the concept of letting the contractors participate in the development of facilities? How's that? At what stage is that now?
I think it's in the stage where we're seeing a need, and I think we're talking about the potential for legislative change. And for the record, I'll go back and see exactly where we are with that proposal. But it would be very helpful if we could get contributions like that.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Dr. Dittmar, could you further explain your statement about China partnering with the United Nations to select and operate international payloads?
In 2019, China and UN COPIUS announced an agreement to select payloads to fly on Chang'e. They selected initially 9 payloads, but had opportunity in that program to select others. The stated goal of that was to essentially do global outreach and involve payload developers and scientists who had not previously had the opportunity to fly or who the China was particularly interested in bringing on board to the to Chang'e.
Okay, I'd like each of you on the panel to speak to the risks such as intellectual property theft that companies face with partnering with China on a station. We'll start with Mr. Taylor and go to the...
Yeah, I share your concern. The intellectual property risk is real. This is one of the arguments we're making to nations who might see China as a good deal because they're deeply discounting their access, and of course that comes at a price, and the price is they're not going to control their IP. So with respect to Starlab, we take that extremely seriously. There'll be no Chinese activity on our space station. But I share your concern. I think there is a real risk that conducting any kind of commerce or research on Tiangong will necessarily have IP consequences.
Thank you. Doc.
Academic scientists and commercial scientists both do recognize the risk of intellectual property leakage when dealing with countries that don't respect the same laws that we do. Nonetheless, we also recognize the extreme value in international cooperation. But the simple answer is that those risks exist and are recognized by the scientific community.
Dr. Dittmar.
We have an expression which is check your IP at the hatch.
Yeah, very good. I like that. Mr. Bowersox.
All I'd say is that here in the U.S., we try very hard to understand and protect the intellectual property rights of our partners. We also try to make sure that the government has a chance to use things that are developed that are where they've benefited from taxpayer investment.
Got you covered. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.